Look at that, I am upgrading my quality. I have a microphone. I mean, it's a screwdriver, but it looks like a microphone. So here we are, another off-season has been and gone and the Supercars Championship is starting up once again. If you are watching this video as it's been uploaded, it is Wednesday of the weekend. You can watch this video, at any time. If you want to watch it in June, that's fine by me. Hello people watching in June. But there is a lot to talk about for this year in the Supercars Championship. New driver team combos, new engineer combos, new round returning, new endurance race, and a brand new way to announce a champion for this season for the first time in the championship's history. If you are interested in the Supercars Championship and you want to see more from me, give a like and a follow. The support would be very much appreciated, or even a subscribe if you're on YouTube. Most of you, if not all of you, will be watching this on YouTube, but I'm also on TikTok and Instagram as well. So, when it comes to 2025, we have 24 full-time drivers and 11 teams on the grid this season, same as last season. I want to go talk about all the teams from reverse teams championship order from last season, starting off with Blanchard Racing Team. Now, they had a season about as well as an ibuprofen on an empty stomach. It was rough. James Courtney had the odd good result here and there. I remember in Adelaide he qualified well and just stayed where he qualified basically. But Aaron Love, talk about a rookie season from hell. He was even on the chopping block at the end of last year to be replaced by Aaron Cameron, but ultimately that hasn't happened. That doesn't mean his seat has gotten any cooler. He should be expected to up the results from last year, hopefully get a top 10. I think his best result was 13th last year, and keep up with James Courtney in what would be Courtney's last season. So they're looking for one driver for the next season anyway. They don't want to make that two drivers. Brad Jones Racing also had one hell of a season, and not good hell of a season. They got 888 Data Alliance in the middle of 2024. That was well needed. Andre Heimgartner probably needed to go to a chiropractor at the end of last year because his back must be fucking killing him. He got that win in Topor and a lot of good results to finish up near the top 10 of the championship. But everyone else, it's kind of tragic. Jackson Evans had pace here and there, but ultimately didn't have the consistency to keep up. Bryce Forward had the race pace to be competitive, but the quality pace, it was barely there. And now he will be running a limited schedule of MIDI sponsorship. He will have rotating sponsorship for 2025. Macaulay Jones, well, that silver spoon is still in his mouth, and I think those three drivers better be careful because he's got Brad Vaughan in Super 2 now, and if he has a good run, he probably should be an endurance co-driver this year, but if he has a good run and has a championship run, they might be looking for a new driver in 2026, and they might even already have him. The only way to describe Team 18's 2024 was just mid. It was not the swan song season for Mark Winterbottom. He didn't even expect it to be his last season last year, but he got axed by them for various reasons, even though he's very good at what he does, and probably still is. David Reynolds has to be the back bearer of Team 18 now. They've brought back the Erebus Dream Team of 2018 to 2020 with Anton De Pasquale driving the DeWalt car. David Reynolds has got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He came from Groves and did well to go to Team 18 and do quite average. And aside from Will Davison and James Courtney, who JC is retiring and Will Davison is TBD, David Reynolds is the oldest driver on the grid. He's been in racing full-time in the series consistently since 2011. He does not want to lose his seat because of mediocrity. And it hasn't even started well for Team 18. Their usual bad luck has gone and they've had their pit stop car stolen. Hopefully they get it back, hopefully they do well this season, and hopefully they actually have a decent Bathurst, because I don't think I can remember them having a good Bathurst. Erebus had the Jekyll and Hyde of Jekyll and Hyde seasons. The first half of the season they were terrible. They had all that drama with Brody Kostecki, which wouldn't have helped, and he already had one foot out the door before he got back in the car at Topor. But even when he came back, he was quite average. definitely didn't really drive like he had the number 1 on his window and bonnet and side door because they'd lost all their sponsors. Jack LeBrock also had speed here and there. I mean, he got a pole in Townsville, but aside from that, he didn't really show pace up until the second half of the season, when Brody Kostecki really went firing and showed that he was the defending champion. It's just a shame that he's not driving for them anymore. Cooper Murray will step into that seat and has no pressure on him whatsoever. I mean, it's not like he did well for a different team on a limited schedule or anything. And I think with the talent that they've got in Super 2, I think Jack LeBrock might need to readjust his mirrors because the objects in his mirror might seem a bit larger than they do appear. Job Stewart and Jared Hughes are on fire, and they are looking to have a really good 2025. I mean, they're already the co-drivers for Erebus, so maybe they want to get that full-time seat. The youngest team on the Supercars Championship, Premier Racing, had a very good 2024. Well, one of the cars did. Tim Slade unfortunately did not have a good swan song either. Jeez, it was a bad year to retire in 2024 if you're a good legend. And he will not be in that seat. In comes Richie Stanaway, who is most likely on his last chance when it comes to full-time Supercars driving. I mean, it's not like Grove really gave him an opportunity anyway. The shining light of Premier, however, James Golding, had a lot of pace in 2024. Even got the team's first podium with David Russell at Sandown and pole position at Darwin. Could he keep up that speed in 2025? I mean, the livery looks fucking speedy. I know it's not a word to describe this team, but the funnest, yes, I am using the word funnest, team to watch in 2024 was Matt Stone Racing. Both drivers had a resurgence from the previous season. I mean, Cameron Hill had a good sophomore season, finishing in the top half of the championship, and Nick Percat, Jesus, 2 wins is not what I expected from this driver. Coming off a terrible tenure at Walkinshaw, I had no expectations for Nick Percat, but now going to 2025, I have quite a bit. I am expecting another race win from Nick Percat, maybe even another 2. And with Tim Slade as his co-driver at Bathurst, a strong Bathurst tilt. Maybe even a podium there. And they've got a wild card coming for Cameron Crick and a driver to be announced. Holy shit, finally another Ford team. This one is Grove Racing, who had quite a good improvement from 2023 to 2024. Well, Matt Payne did. I don't know about the second car, but the second car has a new driver. And it's a very young driver, Kai Allen, who, along with Matt Payne, makes the youngest driver lineup since 2007. Hopefully there's maturity with that speed. As the Kimi Antonelli of Supercars, he is looking like sliced bread. Hopefully for his sake, after one season, that doesn't end up like mouldy bread. I am expecting him to have good results, but not consistent results. I think even I predicted that he'd finish behind Cooper Murray in the Rookie of the Year battle, but it will be very close between those two. The Erebus of Queensland is next, Dick Johnson Racing. I mean, if you look at them, they have now got their Erebus chassis supplier. He is building cars for DJR. They took both of their lead engineers and also one of their drivers. So if I was Barry Ryan, I would not be the happiest at Ryan's story right now. Complete with a shiny new paint for the first time since 2017, Will Davison and Brody Kostecki will hopefully be getting a speedy 2025 in what could possibly be Will Davison's last season and Brody Kostecki's first proper tilt at the title since 2023, because we don't count 2024. Will he be as speedy as Anton De Pasquale or even Scott McLaughlin? I don't know. Walkinshaw Andretti United has had one driver syndrome for, well, ever since that one driver showed up at the team. Chaz Mostert has had blistering pace ever since he showed up in 2020. The driver of the 2 car, not so much. Bryce Ford was there for his first 2 seasons of full-time driving and did okay, but Nick Percat was looking to be the positive up, but he was more like a negative down. And Ryan Wood has been good in his first season, but he needs to back that up in his second season. Yes, he's got a contract for 2026 and will be driving one of those new Supras, but he needs to prove that he is a race winner this year. The thing about Walkinshaw is, will their eyes be too fixed towards the next year and they'd sacrifice this year? I hope not, because Chaz Mostert is one of those drivers that desperately needs a driver's title, and this new point system could give it to him, maybe. The Supercars nearly men, Tickford Racing, had a very much improved 2024. Dropping the count of the cars by 50%, they jumped up the team's championship to second. First time that's happened in a while. The biggest improver on that team was Thomas Randall. Yes, he didn't win. I mean, he did everything but fucking win last year, but he had a consistent approach to finish 5th in points. Cam Waters could have been a title challenger last year if he didn't have a shit first 3 rounds of the season. Scratch out Bathurst, Taupo and Albert Park and he had a very good 2024. Let's just hope he backs up that speed into 2025, otherwise he will again be the Supercars' best driver to never win Bathurst or the championship. Maybe with Frosty in his car, that could change. Finally, for all the teams, is the Evil Empire. The team that kicks everyone's ass literally almost every year, Triple Eight. They have the same driver and engineer and all that sort of stuff, so they're expected to do well. I mean, they should do. Will Brown now has a snazzy new number on the side of the car. Gone is 87 for 1, and Brock Feeney is looking to steal that. Could he get his first championship this year, slash even Bathurst, or could Will Brown go back to back even? So that is the 24 full-time drivers of the championship. Like I said, there are wildcards throughout the year, more than last year. You've got the super cheap wildcard now having Zach Bates in the car instead of Cooper Murray. Tickford have now got a wild card for 4 rounds, 2 sprint rounds and 2 enduros, with 2 of their young Super 2 blokes. And Mattstone Racing is hoping not to spread themselves too thin with the wild card that I talked about beforehand. Could Cameron Crick be good in round 1? We will see on Saturday. And who will join him in that car? Plus you've got Matt Charter Motorsport with a car of their own and maybe a few more wildcards to be announced. This could be a big endurance racing grid. The calendar has expanded massively. Well, I say massively, it's gone up by 1 round, with Queensland Racing returning for the first time since 2019, but there are 10 more races added to the calendar, mainly because 3 race weekends are back, including this weekend at SMP, which has a Friday race. Now that is a good start to the championship. Friday night under lights, that will spark the headlines. The 500 has moved from the beloved Sandown to the Bend, so we'll see how that goes and how many not safety cars there are. And there is a brand new way of discovering the champion, the Supercars Final Series. It's sort of like NASCAR's Final Series, but way better in every way. I mean, you're not going to get someone who's last in the full-time championship all of a sudden be a championship contender because he won one race. I'm looking at you, Harrison Burton. 2025 is looking to be the most competitive season of Supercars for a long time. I mean, we haven't even turned a wheel and we've already guaranteed to have 4 drivers in a shot for the title in at Adelaide. That is going to be exciting. Gloves off, competitive racing. Hopefully the penalties are so lenient so they can rub on each other and actually race one another. So that is my preview of the 2025 Supercars Championship. If you like what you see and you want to see more, give a like and a subscribe. The support would be very much appreciated. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. I post on there quite frequently and definitely on TikTok daily. So I will see you in the next video, hopefully on Saturday.